In today's video, we're going to be rolling through the upcoming pattern as always, taking a huge look at the tropics as we expect a very major hurricane to potentially pose a threat to the United States. So big news in that department coming up. We're also going to be taking a look at the long range outlook, taking a look month by month, what we expect for the rest of fall into the beginning of winter. We're going to deep dive into that because there's a lot of thoughts on that coming up, so a little bit of a fall and winter look today as well. Before we get into things, be sure to check out Prestige Weather in the description and pinned comment down below. We do have our first freeze outlook over there, our snowfall outlook, and it's only $5 a month to gain access to all of those things, as well as weather consulting. We do weekly calls as well, so many things to get for just $5 a month. Again, in the description and pinned comment down below. Let's just dive into things, and we're going to roll through this upcoming pattern first. And by later this afternoon, we do have a bit of a low pressure system, 1,000 millibar low pressure system here. Some storms up to the north and west of it, as you can see, the Dakotas, Minnesota, Canada. Also some storms churning up here to the south of it as well for Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana there. So many different states dealing with some isolated and scattered about thunderstorms as a result of this low. By the time we reach Wednesday, we get a little bit more of a classic look where you can indicate where that cold front is and exactly where that warm front is there. So we get a classic look for this low. We do get some severe weather underneath. Thunderstorm activity can be anticipated with this one as well for the day on Wednesday, the 6th. For Thursday, the 7th, we see some thunderstorms developing to the south and east of this one still as well. Kind of the deeper south in through the southeast, mid-Atlantic, and northeast. So we're seeing a lot of activity as a result of this one. It does end up fizzling out a bit as far as the low is concerned, but by Friday evening, we are dealing with thunderstorms. So we are seeing a lot of the southeast and mid-Atlantic, Ohio Valley, and Great Lakes. And then the northeast into eastern Canada. All of these areas dealing with potential scattered thunderstorms as a result of this individual system. By the time we're reaching Saturday afternoon here on the 9th, it's a lot of the same. We see from the deeper south all the way up the eastern seaboard some isolated and scattered thunderstorms. Also the northern plains dealing with an area of thunderstorm activity as a result of all of this activity. It might be pretty separate at that point though. Sunday the 10th, we see the northeast and mid-Atlantic having some organized activity happening. And then we can see for the Rockies and Plains here as well, we're seeing a lot of thunderstorms happening now. As we keep going for Monday the 11th here, we can see that there is plenty of thunderstorms still around for the northeast. So some activity on the way. We're going to see a quieter pattern up until about Thursday, but really we're going to see that pick up by the time we're reaching early next week. We could see some thunderstorms around for the Rockies and Plains still at this point as well. So for, again, Monday the 11th here. Let's keep going. And for Tuesday the 12th, we see these thunderstorms are expanding a little bit. It's kind of a linear storm mode here. So a line of thunderstorms all the way from the Four Corner States, the Southern Plains, all the way back up through into the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes. We do see our major hurricane here starting to move into kind of the northern Caribbean area by this point. And by Wednesday, we can see it taking a directly north turn. So we're kind of in limbo as to if it's going to hit more of the East Coast, if it's going to be out to sea like this. And still, I think there has to be somewhat of a possibility of a Gulf entrance as well. So really anything goes with this system. We have seen more out to sea solutions, which would obviously be the best case scenario, but nothing can be ruled out at this point. We have thunderstorms around for the southeast, the mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, the northeast here. We're seeing pretty much the entire eastern fourth of the nation dealing with some thunderstorm activity. And then for Thursday, the 14th here, we see this area still, and we see our next line of thunderstorms about to roll through. Probably going to move from west to east all the way to the East Coast again. So a more active pattern on the way overall, I would say, is the trend here. Let's just move into the total precipitation, and you can see as a result of this, we get above average activity for, it's going to be a weird shape here, but something like this is going to be the area that we're watching for. So there is this little pocket in here with less above average activity. I think there's still a chance that they could see it too. I would say if you're east of this line, you're looking at a lot of activity this upcoming 10-day period. It could be spotty, it could be hit or miss, but for the most part, especially these northern areas here, we're definitely expecting above average activity. Those reds are indicative of 2 to 5 inches of precipitation, so certainly over 10 days that is going to put you in the above average category of precipitation. Let's just move straight into the temperature pattern, and even just by frame 1 here, look at this, very strong negative PNA. This is forcing the warm air up into the eastern half of the nation, and that is why things are so hot right now. PNA, of course, stands for Pacific North American Oscillation, and this has been one of our most useful oscillations that we track here on the channel. If you've been a long time subscriber, you know that we use this to basically predict what kind of pattern we're going to find ourselves in, and it is nearly a perfect indicator of what to expect. So I love using that tool. I think it helps a lot. By Thursday, Friday timeframe, this is when we're seeing some changes. We're seeing this become more neutral, moving towards positive, and we're starting to see some cold air move down into the southeast. But by the time we're reaching kind of that weekend into early week, what we see is clearly a positive PNA pattern. So warmth along that western seaboard, positive PNA. Cold diving southward for the plains in the east here. So certainly a very strong indicator of what we expect. And then we're seeing this cold really just stick around. I mean, we see this positive PNA trending all the way through the 20th here on this European ensemble model. So through a majority of the month, we have this positive PNA, cold blasts heading southward. September might end up being a cooler month for the east if this is correct. Now, I told you guys we're going to go month by month. Real quickly, I want to go further into these kind of temperature patterns with our CFS. We do see colder temperatures prevail at least through the later portion of September. We do see a negative PNA on this model regain some steam here. We see the warmth beginning to surge again. But this is going to be pretty short-lived according to this model, because as you can see, we really move back towards a positive PNA, even stronger this time around for the first week of October. So we move back into this positive PNA, cold air diving southward. Obviously, by the time we're reaching October, this is going to be more like 60s, not 70s anymore. So you will feel that kind of nippy air, to say the least. As we keep going, it does look to move potentially back towards a negative PNA for the later portion of October. But this model is so hit or miss, and we see so many changes, it's hard to say. But I'd say a majority of this model run, we saw positive PNA with colder air in the east, maybe in line with a colder fall. And with that being said, let's go month by month on the same model. And there is going to be some concerns. If we see a colder fall, there is going to be some implications for the winter. For instance, if we're seeing all this warmth up here, that's called a negative AO, and it's forcing the Arctic air to leave that Arctic Circle. But it is going to hinder ice development in these areas that you need to see some ice developing for really brutal cold later on in the winter. So this could indicate a later start to the winter if we do see this negative AO continue to trend in like this. Obviously, warmer temperatures means less snow, less cold, and that is going to really hinder that development of that necessary ice to create very, very cold air later on. And for October, we see an even worse outlook here, depending on what you want to happen, but very warm temperatures over the Arctic Circle, cold over the eastern United States, but this is looking like it's going to hinder some of that ice development. I would say, if anything, we have some development happening around Greenland and very far eastern northern Canada there. But especially this western side near Alaska, we've seen consistent warmth both on the September, October, and November outlooks now. And for November, look at this, positive PNA again, potentially, and more cooler air being trended in. So certainly maybe a colder November as well. And then December, despite all of this, we get a really cold outlook here. Some pretty brutal cold here, maybe a neutral or positive PNA. There is some warmth in there. But this cold really looks to take aim at these areas. Now, I don't want to act like we have to have all this ice or it's going to be just a total torch of a winter. But in order to see absolutely brutal cold air, it would definitely help out a lot to have ice available. And at this point, September to December here, every single month we've seen warmer than normal conditions. And actually, it gets worse and worse over time in the Arctic Circle. So this is going to be a growing concern for me. This is going to be something I'm going to continue to pay attention to, and I'm going to definitely include this in our next winter outlook, and there may be some changes coming. Keep that in mind. Now, we're going to go ahead and move into the tropical segment of this video. We do have Tropical Depression 13 here, so this one is finally developed. And then we have a 30% chance up here for the next 48 hours, but a 70% chance over the next 7 days. So certainly increasing very, very sharply here and very quickly. So potentially another system developing right behind 13. And then we have this little area here, 0% chance over the next 2 days, but there is a 20% chance over the next 7 days, and that one would be very close to Europe. I think the only implication here would be just getting us further in the named storm list if somehow this one ended up developing into a tropical storm. So keep that in mind as well. Now, the cone forecast here for Tropical Depression 13, as you can see, tropical storm until about Wednesday, Thursday timeframe, maybe early on Thursday, developing into a hurricane, and then really quickly by Saturday becoming a major hurricane according to this National Hurricane Center. And really the trajectory after this, we're not seeing a northern curve yet, so we're very, very open to any possibility at this point. Again, Gulf, East Coast, out to sea, Bermuda, anything is possible right now, but really the main thing is that this is going to be an extremely intense storm. Very, very bad looking storm to say the least, and the trajectory here leaves us with basically any possibility, which again is another bad thing. So this is just going to have to be one that we track for the coming days, and hopefully we start to nail down a direction with it. Let's just get into that spaghetti model guidance, and as you can see, these ones do start to take a northern turn at a certain point. A majority of them, we do have some of these kind of southern solutions taking it more towards the Bahamas. This is going to be a big question mark, but definitely anywhere along the East Coast, anywhere along the Gulf Coast, in my opinion, still. But East Coast is a little bit more likely. We need to watch this one so closely, especially when you take a look at this intensity guidance here. Very quickly moving into tropical storm status within a couple of days, hurricane status. And then look at this, nothing really stopping it. We see a majority of these hitting Category 4 status at least. And we have a very, very nice group showing Category 5 at this point. So extremely intense storm is what we expect. I would say a vast majority say at least Category 3 here. So this one is going to be intensifying very, very quickly into very severe territory of intensity here. And I cannot stress this enough. We need to watch this one so closely. Anyway, we will be tracking all of this daily, so be sure to subscribe to the channel. We do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.